Good day everyone. We will discuss about performance impact on select queries utilizing gather streams and sort operators during CPU intensive workload in this video. Let's get started. I'm going to use a database called JBSWiki. I'll be creating a table called table 8. Table 8 has 4 columns. Column 1 datetime, column 2 integer identity column 3 integer and column 4 character 1000. It has a primary key constraint, column 1, column 2. We will have a non-cluster unique index on table 8 on column 2. What we'll do is we will insert some random values, and if you look at the insert here, what it basically does is it adds 1 minute to the value that is defined here, and then it is basically getting inserted within this particular group. So column 2 is an identity column, so we are not doing anything here in the insert. Column 3 will have value 1 and column 4 will have character A repeated 1000 times since we are using in replicate. So once the insert is completed, we will be updating the statistics for table 8 with a full scan. So let's turn on set statistics time on. Let's try executing this particular select query with an actual execution plan. So we are selecting column 1, column 3, column 2, and column 4 from table 8, and the predicate is column 1 between this date range, and we are ordering it by column 2. So let's execute that. Let's look at the execution plan. So what I'm able to see is we are seeing we are estimating close to 2,60,642 rows, and we are reading that many rows like 2,60,641, and then we are returning 2,60,641. So the estimate seems to be good. So we have a compute scalar, and then we are basically doing a sort for the order by. So we are doing a sort on column 2. And what is happening is since this is happening parallelly, we have a gather stream operator that basically merges the sort data from the sort operator. So what we'll do is we will execute it one more time, and then let's see how long is it taking. It is taking 440 milliseconds. It is taking 432 milliseconds. It is taking 420 milliseconds. So what I'm able to see is this particular query is taking somewhere between 400 to 450 milliseconds. That is what I'm seeing right now. So what we'll do is we will execute this particular query on a new query window. So what this query is going to do is it is basically going to increase the CPU utilization on one CPU core as we have a max top 1, and since we are continuously going to execute this is going to increase the CPU utilization for one CPU core. So now what we'll do is we will run the same query. This is the same as the previous one, so let's execute it and see if it is completing in 400 to 450 milliseconds. What we are seeing right now, it is not completing in 400 to 400 milliseconds. It is right now at 11 seconds, 12 seconds, and is expected to complete by 20 or 25 seconds. So let's stop it. Let's execute it one more time. Definitely it is not completing in 400 to 400 milliseconds. So let's wait for some more time. It's going to take close to 20 seconds, 20 to 25 seconds, I guess. So same query, we will look at the execution plan also and then see if the execution plan has changed by any way. So let's give it some more time. So yeah, it completed. It took close to 23 seconds this time. So nothing has changed. The only thing is this execution is what is happening. Previously, this was not happening and it was completing between 400 to 400 milliseconds. Now, if I look at the execution plan, I see a cluster index seek. Estimate seems to be the same. We have a compute scalar, we have a sort, and then we have a gather stream. So everything seems to be same. I don't think the execution plan has changed, but what I'm seeing is as soon as this particular query started executing, we started using the CPU continuously, one particular CPU core continuously. What we are seeing is this particular query has regressed close to like 23x, 23 times it has come kind of regressed. It was previously 400 to 450 milliseconds, but now it is taking close to 23 seconds. So what is happening is like on the execution plan, we have this gather streams for the order by. The sorted output of the parallel thread has to be merged by the gather streams, maintaining the sorted order. So now what is happening is like, since one thread is basically executing this particular query and the CPU is very, very high on that particular core, what is happening is like this particular process, which is basically taking up that particular thread, seems to be having an issue. Like for example, if you look at this sort operator, what we are able to see is like this is basically using 8 threads. So we have like 8 cores on this machine. Now what is happening is like one particular thread, which is basically like let's consider it as thread 7, because this is the one that is processing fewer rows when compared to others. And what is happening is like this particular thread should be on the same CPU core as this particular query. And since we have this one, what is happening is like this is basically taking much time, and we know like sort is an stop and go operator. So the thing is like the work as far as the sort has to be completed fully, then only we will be able to work on the other things. And now what is happening is like, since this particular thing is taking time, the whole process is basically slowing down. So what we can do here, what we basically can do is like, if we can remove this particular sort operation here, and I think like we will be able to solve the problem. What we'll do is like, we will create a non-cluster index on table 8 for column 2 and column 1, and include column 3 and column 4, and we'll make sure like this query is getting covered. So let's execute that index. It's going to take some time, so let me pause it and then I will resume it back once it is completed. Okay, the index execution completed. So we have created this ix_test index. Now this query is still running. What we'll do now is like, we will execute this particular query now. Now what I'm seeing is like the query is performing even better. It is completing in 362 milliseconds, 424 milliseconds, 386 milliseconds, 356 milliseconds, 419 milliseconds. Now we are back to square one, wherein when we started with this query was completing between 400 to 450 milliseconds. And now what we are able to see is like it is completing within 350 to 420 milliseconds. And now let's look at the execution plan. So if we look at it here, we no longer get a parallel plan. We are getting a serial plan, and then we are able to completely avoid sort operation and gather streams. And once we are able to avoid sort and gather streams, what we are able to see is like the query is performing better. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Jai Hind.